Welcome to the WanderLearn podcast. I'm your host, Tapon. In this episode, I have Fabrizio Beverina from Italia. He has been to Mongolia on horseback. He's done the Silk Road. He's done the Trans-Siberian Railroad. He's been on a motorbike in the Himalayas as well as Tibet, in the Balkans and South America and Central America. He's done ayahuasca. He's got a new medicine center in the jungle of Peru where he's kind of learning all about this. We've got lots of different topics that we can touch on in this conversation, and we do. I hope you enjoyed with Fabrizio, a very funny guy. Go to WanderLearn.com to comment on this episode. Just look for the most recent episode and click on the link, and then you can make comments there. That's an easy way of doing it. Or you can also leave me a voice message on speakpipe.com/ftapon. Enjoy this interesting interview. One question before we talk about ayahuasca and your experience in the jungles of Peru. My one question before is, why did you go and sneak into Tibet 3 times illegally? What the fuck happened?
Man, if you want to travel to Tibet, you have to pay a travel agency from China where they send you in the hotel they want. Then they show you with the guide the temple then they want. And your possibility of exploring the reality is very limited to what they want to show you. So, and the fee is also not cheap, At the time, you pay the visa for China, maybe for European $30. And then to enter Tibet, you have to pay maybe $150, and maybe with the package, a few $100. It's not worth it, It's not worth it to pay so much money and to be limited to explore what they want you to see,
You look like an Italian, so how can you sneak around? And they have all these, I'm imagining that in Tibet you have checkpoints, you have Chinese authorities looking at your papers all the time, just like they do in Africa.
There are some checkpoints at the border with Tibet with the rest of the China, okay? So you have to pass this checkpoint illegally. So one time I sneak in hidden in a truck. I put myself a blanket, and the truck passed the things and they didn't check me. The second time I go walking, when there is a walking, at 6 in the afternoon, the policeman stopped to work. So at 6, there is nobody at the checkpoint. So I cross the checkpoint. And once you are in, people think that you have a visa, so nobody bothers about you, So you walk inside the Tibet and nobody give a things about you,
That's different than Africa, because in Africa, they're always asking you. That's so surprising, because everybody talks about China being a police state and they care about these things. So are you saying that's a myth, that it's not really a police state? They're not like checking your every move? So many foreigners give you that impression that the Chinese authorities are always looking after everything you're doing.
Some way it's true, but I tell you, you have to think that the policeman in China is not. It doesn't do for a mission to save the world. It's just a job. As a job, sometimes they don't want to work. They prefer not to see. It's like too much job. Sometimes having to deal with the foreigner in legal things, so they pretend not to see, and they let you go. And sometimes, they understand that we are just tourists, So few times, me, I've always been, the police always find me, always. The police find you, but the policeman understand I'm just a traveler, so let me go, He said, sometimes they even give me a discount of the fine, He tell me, I see you're just a traveler and you don't have enough money, so pay me half of the fine, it's okay. It's not their mission,
But the African police and the African border guards and the African authorities, they don't have a big mission, it seems like. But at the same time, they would ask for my papers at every single fucking checkpoint all the time in Africa, always asking me for, show me these papers. And if you're not showing all the papers, then they use it as an opportunity to bribe. Are you suggesting that the Chinese authorities don't use it as an opportunity to bribe? Because you said that there was a fine, they give you a discount. So they do that in China. So I'm trying to understand the difference between the Chinese authorities and the African ones.
I'm in Tibet, so it's not a big issue. It's not as like a enter in China illegally. This will be a bigger story, It's still China, Tibet. So, and for Chinese, it's not a problem to move there, So they feel, also the police feel this, They don't really understand that we are doing something illegal because we have the Chinese visa. So, it's a gray area, Why a Chinese can go and visit Tibet and the foreigner with the visa cannot? And yes, it's like this. And they tell you, but in Africa, it happened to me when I had my Chinese girlfriend to cross the Senegal with her illegally, because nobody's gonna give her a visa for Senegal, so we cross, and and they don't care, They were not caring. It was kind of fun,
And that ends this episode of the WanderLearn podcast, where we explore travel, technology, and transformation. If you'd like to see the show notes with links to what we've talked about, go to WanderLearn.com and click on this episode. If you'd like to connect with me, just remember Tapon. That's my first initial and my last name. Tapon is always my social media username. My website is ftapon.com. Do you want to leave me an anonymous voicemail where you can make a comment or ask a question? Then go to speakpipe.com/ftapon. Furthermore, if you'd like to get rewarded for supporting my projects, then go to patreon.com/ftapon. That's where you can pick up some remarkable rewards for as little as $2 a month. Now, 5 quick favors. Number 1, subscribe to the WanderLearn podcast. 2, download it. 3, share it. 4, review it. And 5, sign up for my newsletter at WanderLearn.com. Our theme music was composed by Eric Stratman. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.